Welcome back to the deep dive. If you are running any kind of business today, you're probably feeling this intense pressure cooker.
Oh, absolutely. It's relentless.
It really is. It's this constant list, isn't it? Scale faster, connect all these different, sometimes really old systems, meet all these incredibly complex regulations everywhere.
And then somehow try to actually get something useful out of the mountain of data you're collecting. That's the kicker.
Exactly. It's maybe the toughest part.
It's really the challenge of our time, isn't it? I mean,
Mm.
our source material today really hammers this home.
Mm-hmm.
The stakes are just incredibly high now.
Yeah.
It's not just about being a bit more efficient anymore. If you wait, if you delay modernizing those core processes, the ones that are slow or rigid or just stuck off on their own, well, you're actively risking your ability to compete.
You're putting your resilience on the line, basically.
You really are, yeah.
So our mission today is to take a deep dive into what organizations are actually doing about this. We're looking at AI-driven automation platforms.
Right.
We've got source material focusing on one specific tool, the Odyssey Automation Platform. But really, we're using that to pull out the universal ideas, the principles of modern automation that apply anywhere.
And what's interesting about Odyssey, from the materials, is this underlying tech they call Pantheon.
Huh.
Think of Pantheon as like the AI brain, the core intelligence layer. And the big promise of the whole platform is to combine a few key things. Smart workflows, tons of integrations, governance baked right in, and this no-code flexibility.
So trying to streamline things using AI in a way that actually helps the business, not just adds more tech complexity.
That's the idea. Meaningful results.
Okay, let's unpack this because anyone who's looked at these systems knows it's easy to get completely lost in the marketing buzzwords.
Oh, definitely.
We need to look past the jargon, see what features actually deliver value. Our sources seem to pull out 6 core strengths, things that any enterprise platform really needs to be a compelling choice today.
Exactly. We have to ask, what really separates a modern intelligent platform from, the older stuff, the simpler robotic process automation?
Right. Let's start with the thing that seems to drive speed, which is this no-code citizen developer focus. That sounds, well, revolutionary maybe. Pushing power out to the edges.
It's all about democratizing development, isn't it? The idea is that the tools, the configuration stuff, are simple enough for people across the business to use.
Like the finance manager or someone in HR.
Exactly. Or operations, people who know the process inside out but aren't traditional coders. They can design, deploy, even manage workflows themselves.
Why does that matter so much beyond just sounding good?
Well, it matters hugely because it hits the biggest bottleneck in most companies,
Yeah.
the IT queue. When a business unit needs a simple change, maybe to a procurement workflow, they submit a ticket and wait weeks, maybe longer, because IT is swamped.
So this lets them move faster, reduces time, cost.
And frustration. But, and this is critical, some things the sources maybe don't emphasize enough, governance is key here.
Right. The old shadow IT problem. If everyone's building stuff, chaos.
Precisely. For this whole citizen developer thing to work safely, that no-code environment needs really strong guardrails built in.
Meaning?
Meaning the platform has to ensure that whatever workflow a non-developer builds, it automatically follows the rules. Security rules, data access rules, audit requirements, everything.
Otherwise, the speed you gain is lost in the compliance mess you create later.
Exactly. You can create a disaster. Okay, so moving from usability to reach. The next strength is comprehensive integration and scalability. And the numbers here are pretty wild.
Yeah, I saw those. Odyssey claims over 5,000 integration points.
5,000. Across more than 400 apps and tools.
Wow.
And here's the really bold claim. They say this typically covers 70% of a company's tech stack without needing custom code.
70%. Okay, you've been in digital transformation trenches for years. How skeptical are you of a number like 70%?
Highly skeptical. And listeners should be too, absolutely. You need to verify that for your specific stack.
Right.
But here's why the capability itself, the approach, is so important. The platform apparently uses what they call an API-agnostic integration method.
Meaning it doesn't just rely on one type of connector.
Right. It can talk to lots of different things. Old legacy systems, mainframes even, brand new cloud SaaS tools, internal databases, all without needing you to rewrite the code of those systems.
And that speeds things up dramatically.
Hugely. Because in so many big projects, just getting the existing tech to talk to each other is where everything bogs down. It takes the most time. It's where things often fail.
Okay, makes sense. Strength number 3 shifts gears a bit more towards the processing power, embedded AML capabilities, moving beyond just simple rules.
Yeah, this is where that Pantheon layer, their AI brain, supposedly shines.
Correct.
They talk about having native AI and machine learning components built in, natural language processing, or NLP,
NLP, right?
advanced rules engines, real-time monitoring, and these things fundamentally change what automation can actually do.
Give us an example. How does something like NLP go beyond a fixed rule?
Okay, so a fixed rule might be, if an email subject line says invoice, send it to accounts payable. Simple.
Right.
But what happens if a customer emails saying, hey, regarding that delivery last week, check the attached payment document for processing? A human instantly knows that means invoice.
But a simple rule wouldn't catch it.
Exactly. NLP lets the system understand the intent behind the words, handle that ambiguity. It can find the document, figure out what it is, route it correctly, even though the specific keyword invoice wasn't where the rule expected it.
So it lets automation handle tasks that used to need a person's judgment, like reading contracts or figuring out customer sentiment.
Precisely. It pushes automation into much more complex territory. Okay, number 4, security, governance, and compliance built in. This is huge.
The source material mentions a 10-layer security framework. That sounds impressive. Maybe a bit like marketing speak. What does that really need to mean in practice?
It's definitely a catchy phrase, 10 layers.
Mhm.
But for it to be meaningful, it has to cover the whole life cycle,
Thorough.
everything.
Like what specifically?
Network protection, obviously. Multi-factor authentication. Really granular controls over who can do what, who can design workflows, who can deploy them, who can see the data.
Role-based access.
Right. Encryption is key, too. Data moving around, data sitting still. And critically, absolutely critically, centralized audit trails, ones you can't tamper with.
Why is having that security built in so much better than trying to add it on later?
Because think about what you're automating. Core business functions. Stuff touching sensitive customer data, financial data, patient data maybe. Compliance can't be an afterthought there.
Yeah, you can't afford for it to be.
If the automation tool itself isn't fully locked down and auditable, you're just creating massive risk. Building it in from the start, like they claim, saves enormous headaches, massive cost, and means every workflow starts off compliant. It's just non-negotiable for serious enterprise use.
Okay, 5th strength, versatility. The platform aims to be turnkey plus customizable. So it offers standard modules, like for contract management or help desks.
Right, the common stuff.
But it also lets you build your own custom applications on top.
And this matters because it helps fight vendor sprawl. Companies end up with 5, 6, 7 different automation tools.
Each needing different skills, different logins, different governance.
Exactly, it's a mess. A single powerful platform should ideally handle both your standard needs, the off-the-shelf workflows, and those unique processes that are specific to your business, your secret sauce. All in one place, one secure environment.
Makes sense. And the 6th core strength, bringing it all together, focuses on the bottom line. Speed to value and ROI. Architecture designed for quick deployment, lower long-term costs.
This really gets at the total cost of ownership, TCO. Faster deployment is great, means you see returns quicker, helps justify the investment.
That gets the stakeholders happy.
Right. But maybe even more important is that lower maintenance piece. Think about those citizen developers again. If the workflows they build are fragile, if they break every time an underlying system gets updated.
Then your TCO goes through the roof trying to fix them all.
Precisely. So a really strong platform needs to be built so workflows are reusable, they're modular, they can withstand those inevitable system changes without constant expensive tinkering.
Okay, those are the 6 strengths. Now, here's where I think it gets really interesting. Let's connect these features directly back to the kind of chaos and the pain points that organizations are wrestling with every single day.
Yeah, let's synthesize this. Take that classic problem. Siloed systems. Everything's stuck in its own little world, not talking to each other.
The bane of every CIO's existence.
Totally. So that huge integration claim, the 5,000 connectors, the API-agnostic approach,
Yeah.
that directly tackles this. It acts like a universal translator.
So you don't necessarily have to rip and replace everything.
That's the goal. You bridge the systems as they are without these massive, multi-year disruptive projects.
Okay, what about the poor, overburdened IT team? Always underwater, always dealing with backlog.
Right. So much of their time gets eaten up by, frankly, mundane stuff. Routine maintenance, small change requests from the business.
Stuff that's important to the business user, but low level for IT.
Exactly. So Enabling those citizen developers with the no-code tools, that shifts the design work, the configuration work, out to the business unit that actually owns the process.
And that frees up the high-level IT
What
folks.
frees them up for the really strategic work, the big picture stuff, implementing new security architectures, scaling the core infrastructure, managing the really complex technical risks. The system handles the routine, the experts tackle the novel challenges.
Okay, now for organizations that know they need more, they need intelligent automation, not just basic rules. They need to handle complexity, like you mentioned, with contract review or maybe fraud detection. How does the platform help there?
Well, that's the job of those embedded AI features we talked about. The NLP, the machine learning, the smarter rules engine. It extends automation into that gray area, that messy middle ground where humans usually have to make judgment calls.
So, if you can automate classifying the risk level of an insurance claim or figuring out the right expert to handle a complex customer query,
You unlock way more value than just automating data entry.
yeah,
Exponentially more.
got it. And finally, for organizations focused on the long game, they want ROI, sure, but they also want durability. They don't want a solution that looks good for 6 months and then turns into a technical debt nightmare.
Yeah, that's where the architecture built for scale comes in. The reusable workflow components. And crucially, back to that built-in governance framework.
How does governance help durability?
If the platform itself enforces the security rules, the audit trails, the compliance checks from day one, then your initial gains aren't wiped out later when you realize you've accidentally created thousands of small security holes or compliance gaps that now need expensive manual checks to fix. It preserves the value.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, this brings us perfectly to our final section. Let's say you, the listener, are now thinking, okay, I need to evaluate platforms like this. How do you cut through the noise? How do you critically assess them?
Right. You need a checklist, but one based on real technical needs, not just marketing promises.
What questions should you be asking?
This raises that really important question. Before you sign a big contract, what proof should you demand? Our sources suggest focusing on 6 critical areas, mirroring the strengths we discussed.
Okay, let's run through them. First, integration depth and breadth. Don't just take their word for it.
Absolutely not. You have to ask, how many of those connectors are truly out of the box, ready to go with the apps you use, versus how many need expensive custom development work?
And verify it works with your specific mix, your on-prem stuff, your cloud apps, maybe some ancient legacy system hiding in a corner.
Exactly. Don't trust a generic list. See it connect to your world.
Second, that crucial balance that still needs a developer for anything tricky.
And the key follow-up, can your non-developer users safely maintain and update these workflows over time without breaking things or violating compliance?
Because if every little change still needs a developer, you haven't really solved that IT bottleneck problem, have you?
Not at all. You've just shifted it. Third, dive deep on security, governance, and compliance.
No vague promises allowed here.
Definitely not. Ask for specifics. What security certifications do they have? How exactly is your data handled? Encrypted, tokenized, stored? Where is it stored?
And demand a demo. Show me the permission controls. Show me the audit logs.
Right. Ask them. Show me how easily I can generate a report that proves who accessed what data using which automated process 6 months ago. Can you do that quickly and reliably?
Good one. Fourth, embedded intelligence. Those AML and NLP features. Are they truly native to the platform?
Or are they just, bolted on? Maybe relying on a connection to some third-party AI tool, which adds another layer of complexity and potential failure? Native features usually mean tighter integration with the platform's own security and governance.
And you need to know how easy it is to tune them, right? To teach the AI your specific industry terms or business rules.
Crucial. Can your team adapt it to your unique needs? Fifth, thinking long-term with scalability and maintenance.
Has this platform actually been proven in companies as complex as yours?
Yeah.
Or maybe even more complex?
Good question. And what happens 5 years from now? When you've built hundreds, maybe thousands of workflows and your underlying systems continue to change, what's the real maintenance burden going to look like?
Because that's where the hidden costs often bite you, that long-term TCO.
Absolutely. And finally, number 6, cost, ROI, and time to value. Be demanding here.
Ask for total transparency on cost, not just the license fee.
Right. What about implementation? Mandatory support contracts. What's the real all-in number?
And critically, ask for proof of ROI. Verifiable benchmarks, real case studies that show a realistic timeline. How long until you actually start seeing tangible benefits?
Don't accept vague promises of efficiency gains. Ask for the numbers.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what does this all mean? The big picture here, based on our sources, seems to be that these powerful modern platforms, like Odyssey aims to be, are positioning themselves as the way forward. The path for organizations who are just tired of trying to duct tape different solutions together.
Yeah, the goal seems to be simplifying all that complexity, making sure compliance is handled automatically through that built-in governance.
And speeding up intelligent decision making right across the business.
I think the overarching promise, if a platform truly delivers on these 6 strengths, isn't just about automating the boring, routine stuff, though that's part of it.
What's the bigger promise then?
It's about using that combination of AI and robust built-in security to actually free up your people, free up your teams to focus on creating new value, on innovation, instead of just constantly battling old bureaucracy and broken processes.
Value, not bureaucracy. I like that. That's a great takeaway. Okay, here's a final thought for you, our listener. Considering that idea of a really robust, built-in security framework and centralized auditability, the notion that governance isn't an add-on, but part of the creation process itself, how might embracing that kind of thinking change the whole conversation around compliance for every new AI-driven project you consider in your own organization?
Interesting question.
Think about that framework next time you're evaluating any new technology. Thanks for diving deep with us today.